Welcome to Scars to Stars, where conversations and personal stories let us know we are not alone. In this show, you will meet authors and speakers from our books and events as they share vulnerable personal stories to spread hope and inspire you through adversities in your own life. The world is a difficult place. You will find like-minded people here with kind hearts and supportive souls. I am your host, Dina Brown Mitchell. I am a suicide survivor and the founder of the Realize Foundation. I am so glad you are here. Let's dig into this meaningful conversation. Hi, everybody. It's Dina at the Realize Foundation, and I'm back with another special guest. And I have Matthew here today, and I'm super excited to have this conversation with you. So welcome, Matthew.
Thank you.
Glad to have you.
Glad to be
And
here.
Matthew was just telling me he's in North Dakota and I'm in Colorado. So we were talking about snow and skiing and mountains, which is always fun. But Matthew, I'm gonna spotlight you and have you tell us a little bit about your story because you just wrote for Scars to Stars Volume 5, which we're launching very soon. And I can't wait for everyone to read your story because I think it's amazing. So I'm going to let you give everybody a little preview.
Yeah, of course. So, I grew up north here, cattle and ranch. Just grew up, and it did teach me a lot of work ethic, but we moved to Colorado in middle school. Everything started off like amazing and whatnot till high school, being peer pressured into, I guess, marijuana. And, shortly after that, my mom gets cancer, and I was faced with a deadly assault that they started giving me pain pills. And I kind of started leading into an addiction from that. I guess I didn't realize that till at least a couple years after, but I ended up moving back to Montana. It was very hard on me, a lot of hurt, and was just looking for an escape all the time because it just kind of got to the point where I guess you weren't living unless you were feeling some kind of substance. And that's when I got into amphetamines. That really took a toll, got kicked out of my families, went to two different rehabs that I didn't want to go to. I just wanted to get out of state and um, wasn't really ready to get sober. I've been through a lot. I've seen people overdose, close friends of mine too. And there was just really, I guess, no escape for me at the time. And so, I started bouncing around all these states thinking I just need a fresh start, not realizing my inner demons were following me. And I allowed them to surface. And, so I moved to Indiana, I moved to Salt Lake City, I moved to Ohio, to Florida, just all over the place struggling. And it just got to the point where I just felt nothing anymore. I remember, I got into heroin, and I remember just being so far gone and seeing the family I hurt. Deep down, it hurt me. I just couldn't express it. So I just turned to drugs. And I remember the first time I tried to take my own life, I got really high on heroin, but I ended up just blacking out and waking up in vomit. And the sad thing is like I didn't feel anything from it. If anything, I was just like, I guess, really pissed off because I was just so far gone and I didn't want to feel anything anymore. All the hurt that I've endured, I've just tucked it away for so long so that when it surfaced, it hit me hard. And I'm like, okay, well, now I need my next fix. So that was going on for a while. I guess one big eye opener is I had a pill repressed with fentanyl, and I didn't realize that. So my mouth started rashing, my throat started rashing. I started to record a final message for my family sitting in my car about to overdose. And luckily, I barely snapped out of it, but forcing each breath was like pushing your max on the bench press. So I guess, so I go down to Florida. I have all this hurt. I turned to drinking. I'm thinking, okay, well, it's not drugs, but even drinking was interfering with my jobs. It was interfering with my relationships, my friendships. Um, I finally got a DUI property damage, which I served 60 days for. And I really found God behind bars. And it really changed me. Getting out of jail, I mean, yeah, there's always going to be temptations and whatnot, but it really made me humble for the small things, being locked up for those 60 days. And it's been a few years since I've been out, but I've been doing good. Yeah, I still struggle with depression here and there. It's always going to be there, but at the end of the day, finding a hobby or finding something to do. I got my little best friend right here. He's helped me a lot. So, um, but no, we're not alone, and I know there's a lot of other people out here, going through these struggles, and I just want them to know that they're not alone because, at the end of the day, life goes on, and addiction's not a need, but it's a want. You don't use the drug, but the drug uses you. And I'm finally made it home to my family. It's meant a lot to me because they always thought, the next time they'd hear from me, it would be a call that I overdosed or dead in a ditch somewhere. And it's just kind of crazy where God's really taken me in life. So
Thank you for being willing to share your story, because there are a lot of people that have experienced at least some of what you've experienced, and don't necessarily have the support they need or the hope that they need, right?
yeah, of course, I didn't have hope for the longest time, so I get it.
Mhm. And I think when you said God behind bars, it's Red Rocks Church, right?
Yeah, Red Rocks Church, yes.
I've been listening to Red Rocks for probably at least 6 or 7 years.
Oh yeah, they are amazing.
They are amazing. I think Pastor Sean, is what I love about him is how honest he is about his addictions and
Uh-huh.
his background and how he grew up and all of that. And I know we just met, but I've survived a suicide attempt as well. And I woke up in the hospital very angry that I was still there.
Hmm.
Um, but I think because of that is when God put this mission on my heart, because it's just, there's so many people in dark places that don't feel like anybody cares or understands. And we got to change that.
Yeah.
We got to change it because people matter, and we all have moments like that. I don't think there's probably not many humans on the planet who haven't been through something, you know.
Yeah,
But how do we get how do we support each other more, you know?
of course. I think it's also too just having people that understand you as
Mhm.
well and that have gone through what you're going through type of deal too, to let them know that, hey, you're not alone. So,
Yeah, that's very true.
mhm.
Well, hi there, it's Dina. If you like our podcast and you're enjoying learning about other people's stories of overcoming adversity, please go over to therealizefoundation.org and support us by donating. We believe that conversations, community, and personal story can change lives and reduce suicide ideation. And we also have a way, if you have a business, you can support us without money out of your pocket. So go on over to realizefoundation.org and look at the donate page, and you can learn how to support us as a business, and also you can donate any amount. Thank you so much. My question for you is, can you talk about a little bit about your 60 days?
Yeah.
Because I think that's another thing, is like people who are in a dark place, maybe they haven't been to jail. Like what did that do for you? I know you found God behind bars, but other than that, like how did you navigate that 60 days?
Yeah, it was really hard. There was, a lot of Bible studies, playing cards, but also I guess the thing that made me grateful for the small things was, I applied for a care package on a toothpaste and toothbrush because they weren't wanting to give it to me. After my first one ran out. Luckily, after a second there, my family gave me canteen for all my hygiene supplies. But like, I don't know, just the small things that just made me so appreciative that I took with me leaving jail.
Mhm.
All that time with isolation by myself with my thoughts. It was just, a reminder that I don't want to go back, but I am very thankful I landed there because I feel like I would still be stuck in my ways if I didn't get locked up. So it really broke me down in a lot of ways, I guess, that I can't just fully describe, but I know I feel.
Mhm.
It made me surrender my ways and give into God's ways. So,
Yeah, that's a good perspective.
yeah,
And I've had the pleasure of meeting your mom, and she seems like a wonderful person.
yeah, yeah. She's always been so supportive throughout the years.
That's awesome. So, do you have any advice for people who may be starting down the road of drugs or addiction, and what would you say to them?
You know, to not be so hard on themselves. It's just a little hiccup in the road, but the road always gets smoother. And, there's going to be a time when they're ready to surrender, and we all have our own rock bottoms. But one thing I didn't take into consideration is the people I still had in my life throughout my addiction. Like, it didn't matter to me. But it's like at the end of the day, those things really matter, because not everybody has somebody they can turn to. I met a guy in jail that was almost 70 years old. He's getting out and he's got no family, no nothing because he really messed up with drugs for his whole life. And he just mentioned how it just disappeared in the blink of an eye. And if he could have done things different. Um, but yeah, I guess at the end of the day, there is a way out. And I may be able to not fully describe it for each person's situation, but there is. And I've gotten out and I've done drugs for years. So
Well, I'm glad to see that you made it to the other side
thank
and
you.
that you're willing to talk about it to help other people, because I think sometimes people are in that place that we both know, and they don't think, you know, anybody could help them or that anybody cared. And I
Yeah.
think that that's a misconception because people do care.
Hmm.
And people like us are trying to make a difference in the world by telling our stories. And I think we do. I think people can read or listen to your story and maybe connect with you or relate to you in some way that helps them understand how to get to the other side where they might not understand that for themselves.
Of course. For me, it was, I always wanted to take the easy route. And getting sober is very hard, but in the long haul, it has a lot of benefits. It really does.
Well, I really appreciate you being here and talking to me about it.
Of
Do you have
course.
any do you have any other advice or lessons you want to share?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head, no.
Okay. So
Uh,
now what do you do for fun?
I like fishing. I like taking my dog to the park. Um, Hunting's pretty fun. I got a cousin with land out here, so we can hunt. Spending time with my grandma, kind of helping her around the house. We go out for lunch once a week at the very least. If we don't, then there's a problem. But just spend time with family now that I'm home. It's just so rewarding.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear this part of your story.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you for being here.
Of
And
course.
I appreciate you being so open.
Of course. I'm just glad to be a part of this, and hopefully it can reach somebody.
I'm so happy you joined us for this conversation. My wish is that you found comfort and hope in your own unique situation. If you resonated with our message, please head over to therealizefoundation.org, where you can apply to write your own story in one of our books. You can also download our 60 Ideas for Self-Care on the resources page. I can't wait to hear from you. Until next time, you are not alone, you are worthy, and you are enough.